like how we must fight orang minyak. Is it to arrest every single individual that has a dark skin color? Or is it a specific feature combination? Okay, dark skin color, crouching in night time, nearby alley, okay, all those conditions fulfilled, captured. Definite orang minyak. But what if the person was actually trying to look for missing items? You accidentally caught him. So yeah. So before AI ethics, what is ethics? Again, these are the things that we've covered before. Sense of morality and guiding principles. Standard behavior that tells us human beings how we should act in many situations that we find ourselves in. Making decisions about good, bad, right and wrong. For example, the orang minyak. And how OnlyFans. Anyone here have any idea what OnlyFans is? Okay. So I would spare you the embarrassment because this is quite controversial. Okay, so because I'm the trainer, I don't have a choice. OnlyFans is a platform where people would do certain things to feel certain proclivity, that is certain interest, sexual especially interest. So they would do or engage in certain kinks, and the audience would reward these actors with money, gifts and whatnot. So in terms of revenue efficiency company in the world, and no one even comes close, revenue per employee, OnlyFans has the highest revenue per employee.
Not even Nvidia.
Nvidia is not even close per employee. Like one employee in Nvidia is roughly generating 3.6 million US dollar, but OnlyFans is generating 37 million US dollar. So this is one example of a digital technology, namely our social media platform, OnlyFans in this case. How, even though it is morally questionable, the kind of activities that they are engaged with are extremely reprehensible, especially if you are parents. You know, parents these days, even if you have younger siblings, you are extremely worried about their sort of deep dark desires. And OnlyFans only had to fend this sort of desires. So even though on one hand it enables the capitalist market to operate well, you know, you allow people because it's their choice. Hey, why not? They want to sell their body online whatever way they like. But on the other hand, you're also destroying the morals of society, especially I would say in societies like ours, where we are neither too conservative or too liberal. We are somewhere in the between, the middle. Yeah, so that's just one part. And moreover, in the question of ethics, we have a few figures. These are not all of them. Anyone has any idea who this person is? Socrates, okay. So you have one of the earliest, this is Western ethics, just so everyone knows. It's not to say that Western ethics are the only useful ethics out there, no. This is just to give you an example of the list of ethical thoughts, school of thoughts, philosophers that we have out there. So when it comes to Socrates, we have tradition and virtue ethics. So structured examination of how we should act and the people we should be. So how we want to go about doing activities, creating our AI system, and the kind of people that we want to be. Are we purely profit-oriented or achievement-oriented? I don't give a damn about how this AI system would affect people in the long run. What I care is I'm going to get that raise. I'm going to make my superiors happy, and I'm going to get some raise, and that's about it. Whatever happens, happens. So it's about that. Really carefully thinking about the long-term consequences. Virtue ethics, and he is obviously influenced by Aristotle. Immanuel Kant, CI or categorical imperative, act only according to the maxim where you can act at the same time will that it becomes a universal law. Meaning to say, you are acting in a certain way, not because the society asks you to act that way, but rather internally you feel that is the right thing to do. So that's basically it. I don't want to go through this flowery English linguistic lesson here, but that's basically the gist of categorical imperative. John Stuart Mill, principle of utility. Actions are right in proportion as they tend to promote happiness, and they are wrong if they tend to produce the reverse of happiness, meaning unhappiness. The founder of my university, UCL, Jeremy Bentham, is also considered a father of utilitarianism. So basically, utilitarianism is the idea of the greatest good. So if the AI system, the output brings the greatest good, then it's good. Then we should strive for it. And then right-based ethics, John Locke. It's about protecting and respecting moral rights of those affected. Like earlier we have privacy right. Yes, you want to protect privacy right, but at the same time you want to also protect the youth and vulnerable who could be victims of child pornography. You never know that. So these are just some thoughts as to how you could construct your AI ethics practice. Again, they are not to say that these are the only philosophers out there that you must consider, but some things that you could think about. And then you have, moreover, you have consequentialism, or consequences, deontology. Certain actions are inherently right or wrong based on moral principles and rule. And this is pretty much what we are trying to do here in a way, because we are starting with AIGE, and then we are going to slowly build our work from there. And then virtue ethics, developing good character and virtues. For example, here Aristotle emphasis on virtues like courage, wisdom, and justice. You could see this more clearly on your screen, I think, if you have downloaded them. Okay, anyone have, before we go to the left hand side, anyone has any idea of this news? Anyone saw this news? Yeah? A few years back? Sorry?
MCO, right?
MCO, yes. So it's quite disheartening news, especially to learn that we, one of the fortunate nations in Southeast Asia, the third richest country in Southeast Asia after Singapore and Brunei, still have this experience. We have a student here, I think she is in Sarawak or Sabah, who experienced hardship in trying to get education because she has to climb up a tree, which is a dangerous activity, just to get internet connection, just so she could learn MCO during the COVID lockdown era. But now I heard that she's doing well in life. Yeah, she's been supported, so I'm happy to hear that. So the key challenges here in servicing people like her, giving opportunities like people who have given opportunities to us in our life, we have to think about the multiple perspective. On one hand, you do want to help people like her, but on the other hand, reality demands there are a lot of corruption in a certain area. You want to do good things, but it's not as easy. Life is not easy, real world. Talking in the abstract in classroom is simple, but going out, asking people, hey, you need to stop corruption, you need to use the money to build roads like we have planned, but actually, it doesn't happen that way. So how do you go about this? This is again a question of ethics. But when it comes to AI ethics, it's not as complicated, I would say. So people, first of all, have difficulty understanding AI ethics. Why? Because they confuse ethics and AI ethics together. Yes, AI ethics comes from ethics, but they are not the same. The question of ethics is bigger, far bigger than AI ethics itself. We would walk you through that one. And then in ethics, there are no single correct theory. It's impossible. Can I say, let's go with Kant, because Kant is the only right guy here. Let's do everything else. Obviously, people wouldn't have accepted that. The pacing problem. Technology and society change faster than ethical consensus. This is also agreed. I am a fan of bleeding edge technology, which is a more advanced term than cutting edge technologies. Cutting edge technologies are at the front end. Bleeding edge is on the experimental level. I'm a fan of that, and I'm aware there are a lot of issues with bleeding edge and cutting edge technology. Has anyone here heard of Neuralink? Neuralink, maybe you could explain to us what Neuralink is?
The brain implant where you can interface, like for example now, the phone you have to input by finger and whatnot, but with Neuralink you can just think and then it will control whatever it is.
Precisely. So, if you are searching for it, you can search for it online. Neuralink is one of the company that Elon Musk, I'm not a fan of him, but I do give credit where credit is due. So he created this company, or rather invested in this company called Neuralink. And as Ali had pointed out, Neuralink is basically a company that specializes in brain or body implant that helps person to do things digitally or to move things. So one example that they had was to help this completely disabled person, paralyzed from top down, to regain some mobility, to enable him to control his PCs, his wheelchair and whatnot. So it's good on one hand because it enables this person to do all of this thing, and it is being powered by AI as well, because AI is needed to enable massive computation and massive calculation and whatnot. But on the other hand, can you imagine you yourself, or perhaps your children, future generation, having these implants to help them, not because they are disabled, but rather they want to get an edge? So this is another question, ethics. This is a question of ethics. Is it right for me to get a brain implant because I want to have 50 terabytes of memory capacity without relying on my organic brain? Because my organic brain would fail me, but my silicon brain would not. So this is another question. And some people would say to me, but Firdaus, I don't think because why? It's implant, intrusive. People get tattoo. People chop their hand just because they want to look a certain way. You have seen people who does body modification to look like lizards and aliens and whatnot. In South Korea, and I'm not disparaging any community, but in South Korea, there is a study, a disturbing study, where they have found parents or elders in South Korea would reward children who excel academically with cosmetic surgeries. Do you know why? Because the value of aesthetic look is considered highly in South Korean society. So if you want to get into a good university, good job, you have to look the part. Like literally. You have to change your jawbones and everything. So again, coming back to this question, will people do it? No, it's not a question of whether people do it, but the question of how do you deal with this once it is in place. Because one of the concern that I have as a person who comes from kampong sort of background, who had to compete, international stage, whatnot, to climb wherever I have climbed, it would grow the disparity, the gap between those who have and those who doesn't have. When it comes to AI, children in the urban area, fortunate you have constant 5G internet access. But in some places in Malaysia, let's not talk about Sabah Sarawak, stay at Semenanjung, you still have people who have access with internet issues, services and whatnot. So these people are competing at an uneven or unfair platform. So coming back to this, the pacing problem, that's the problem that we have. We have advancement of technologies, but also unfairness when it comes to technological deployment in society. So that's also a question of ethics and AI ethics in general. Stakeholder complexity, this is an example that I made earlier. You have politicians who are corrupt. You can't do much with them. You try to appease them, but there's only as much as you can do. Appeasing everyone. Difficulty in appeasing every stakeholder. So I think JDN knows this full well. Your engagement, they have done a lot of engagement lab with agencies, different agencies, in trying to get their buy-in of the guides that they have produced. Is it an easy task, Tatiza? Why not?
Why? Nadia, why?
Why? Just give us a few reasons. Why is it so hard to win everyone's?
Because for example, for AI, we have different AI literacy level. For each of the
So the different interests, the different layout.
Yes.
Interest can be organizational and individual interests. So there is also that conflict. And I know that because I'm looking at time. I'm going to allow you for a short break. I know that Tiger Lab also has this experience, especially you're trying to roll out new services or product. You have to get into buy-in, especially from your superiors, don't you? So that's just an example. Why are you not? Okay. If you have any do you have any Q&A for this section at least? What is ethics? Does anyone or is everyone excited for the short break? I think you deserve your short break now. Yeah. Not a fan. Okay, let's have a short break and be back in 50 minutes. Okay. Yes, we do have group photo.
Boleh. Soalan penting.
Yes. Baik. Yes. We would